Hi everyone, welcome to the Rare Record Room. This is where I'll show you some of the LPs in my record collection, give you a little background to the artists and their recordings, and provide some examples of the record company labels, and noting some important variations in text or differences between sleeves, that sort of thing. Record collecting has been a passion of mine for as long as I can remember. I hope you'll find these informative and useful, but ultimately enjoyable. With that in mind, let's get straight into the content. In this video, I'll be looking at some records from simply the most successful and influential band ever. I'm of course talking about the Fab Four, the Beatles. Thanks for joining me. In today's instalment from the Rare Record Room, I'm going to describe and illustrate the early stereo pressings of the third UK long-playing record from the Beatles, 1964's A Hard Day's Night, which was the accompanying soundtrack to the first feature film comedy starring the band. I've previously covered the original mono release of this record in a separate video, which provides a little more background to the film and music, which you may wish to check out. Two associated EPs were released by Parlophone in the UK within a few days of each other in November 1964. The first of these was titled Extracts from the film A Hard Day's Night, which naturally contained 4 songs that were used in the film. This featured the same cover artwork as the LP release. This was quickly followed by extracts from the album A Hard Day's Night, which, as the title suggests, contains 4 songs from the album that were not featured in the film. This one uses similar artwork to the American LP issued by United Artists. The UK album was released on the familiar and long-lived Parlophone black label design, first used in the late spring of 1963 up until 1969. This label features yellow and silver text printed on a black background. Copies pressed between 1964 to 9 will feature subtle variations within the label text, although the bold yellow company name was ever present. These differences are covered comprehensively within the Rare Record Price Guide, which I would encourage any interested person to consult. I will give a brief overview of these changes and show some examples of the stereo pressings. In fact, the label differences which apply to the first and second pressings of the mono LP are also found within the stereo first and second press copies. And so to the vinyl itself. The record shown here is the 1964 stereo first pressing, identified by the rim text which reads The Parlophone Company Limited, followed by an all rights reserved notice. The record is issued under the catalogue number PCS 3058 and the label states recording first published 1964. It also states sold in the UK subject to resale price conditions. This one does not have a tax code, although MT and KT codes may be found. This copy has chubby type. A narrower type may also be found. The earliest sleeves were made by E.J. Day or Garrett and Lofthouse and feature a mid-sized bold stereo wording at the top right margin, roughly covering the same space as the letters GHT in the word night found underneath. Incidentally, all sleeves for 60s pressings of this LP were the flip-back variety. The 1965 second pressing has a rim text reading The Gramophone Company Limited instead of Parlophone Company and retains the sold in the UK notice. However, the recording first published 1964 text has been dropped, replaced by simply the date preceded by the letter P within a circle. This copy has a narrow typeface and I've yet to find a chubby type on these and later pressings. There is an MT tax code on this example, embossed near the spindle hole. Next we have a variant label second pressing with the same features as described, but the track listing has been reset, spread over 5 lines instead of 4. There is no tax code on this copy. Here is yet another variant of the second press label, again with the track listing spread over 5 lines but now printed in a Roman or serifed typeface. Also the bold silver stereo wording at the 2 o'clock position is now much larger. Sleeves for this pressing are by Garrett and Lofthouse, with a small-sized bold stereo wording at the top white margin, roughly covering the same space as the letters HT in the word night beneath. An uncommon variant exists with a mid-size stereo wording in outline only. Now to the third pressing, which was the final 1960s pressing on the yellow and black label, appearing for a short period in 1969 from summer till November. Similar to the second press with the gramophone company rim text, but without the sold in the UK text. The side one track listing is spread over 5 lines, and this one is printed in a narrow typeface. Sleeves for this pressing are the same as the second pressing, printed by Garrett and Lofthouse. Company liners for these pressings vary throughout the 60s, the earliest being the die-cut Use Emitex style in a sleeve with a tracing paper lining bag. Plain white non-die-cut paper liners were used around the time of Revolver and Sgt. Pepper, while sepia-toned advertising company inners appear around 1968. At the very end of 1969, EMI Records revised their LP labels entirely, now with a black label printed in silver only and adding the boxed EMI logo. I will cover these black and silver labels in a separate video. Values differ considerably for the various yellow and black label stereo pressings. Decent copies of the 1964 first pressing are listed at £250 or £75 for the 65 second pressing. The 1969 third pressing is valued at £60, and the scarce outline stereo sleeve is listed at £200. And that just about brings to an end my brief run through of the 1960s stereo pressings of the Beatles LP A Hard Day's Night. That's all for this time. I appreciate you joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the content today. If you did like the video, please feel free to subscribe to the Rare Record Room channel to see similar episodes and to receive notifications for new uploads as they happen. Thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you next time. Until then, take care. Bye for now.